Welcome to the Scottish Classic Sports and Saloon Car Championship at Knockhill in association with the Edinburgh Watch Company here at the SMRC in June. Beautiful, beautiful weather. Look at us looking across the Firth of Forth again towards Edinburgh with the Pentland Hills basking in sunshine in the background and some stunning classic race cars coming through the famous Clark Corner, named after the late, great Jim Clark, former Formula One World Champion, who we lost at Hockenheim in 1968. Clark's Corner, a tricky corner to get right. You've got to watch. You don't run wide on the exit. You can leave yourself open to being passed towards the hairpin. And also, as you come over the crest of Clark's Corner, the car tends to want to jump out from underneath you. It's a tricky, tricky corner. After qualifying, John Kinmond was on pole from Andrew Graham, with Tommy Gilmartin returning to the series and Shawnee Patterson in the big TR8, the orange TR8, alongside him on the second row of the grid. They were just about ready to go here. The lights on the bridge, revs rise, it's 4 V8s on the front 2 rows, and away they go down towards toughest dip for the first time of asking. A little bit of onboard camera action as well between a couple of cars. And down we go, and straight away there's somebody in trouble there. That's one of the TR8s, if I'm not mistaken. That looks like Andrew Graham. Yes, Andrew Graham in the green TR8 as Bapty takes out a floppy and throws it back. It's not like Alistair Bapty to take out a floppy, is it? No. Alistair in the X19. What's wrong with Andrew Graham there? And there's a lot of gravel dust from Butchers. Have we lost somebody? We have. That's Shawnee Patterson. So the two TR8s having a disastrous start. Shawnee Patterson into the gravel at Butchers now. That's very unlike Shawnee to go off. Or has that car, like Andrew Graham's, picked up a mechanical issue? Tommy Gilmartin leads in towards the hairpin. Car number 77 in the Morgan +8. Chased by John Kinmond in the Rover SD1 3.5 litre V8 Rover. And just listen to those cars roaring through there as they head towards Duffy's Dip into the gravel at the exit of Clark Corner. Is that Michael Longstaff? It looks very much like Michael Longstaff. The MG Midget. Difficult to see a number on that, but I do know Michael's car. Going out on a limb there, haven't I? Yeah, Michael facing the wrong way in the gravel trap, and somebody else goes off. Now that looks more like a retirement than and that was Charlie Cope in the Golf. So Charlie Cope has a disaster, and he pulls himself into the rallycross at the bottom of Leslie's. So quite a high rate of attrition so far. As through Clark Corner, Bruce Mitchell just up the road from us just now. And I believe we're on board with Mario Ferrari there in the lovely Alpha Sprint Trofeo, the orange car. And great to have Mario back on track. An XR2 in the classics here. Did you spot that? Yes, an XR2. I remember when I first started my racing career, XR2s were one of the main championships. And now they're into the classics. So, yes, making the commentator feel somewhat old sitting here watching this with a tear in his eye. Ollie Mortimer flashes past there. Let's talk about him. He's in a Fiesta, Ford Fiesta Mark. Is it Mark II or a Mark I that Ollie's in? It's a beautiful, beautiful little car. And Ollie Mortimer drives it within an inch of its life. And Ferrari and Russell are going to have to watch here because they're about to be Baptied. The little X19, catching them so fast as Alistair Bapty through the twisty part of the circuit. Just loses out on true grunt in that car as you go in towards Clark Corner. Over the apex curb, Bruce Mitchell in the Lotus Europa just ahead of us, the 1700cc car. And this is class-based racing. We should mention that as well. Lots of classes, and it's done on engine size, but let's not concentrate on that because Phil Russell slithers up the inside in the BMW and passes Mario Ferrari, and Alistair Bapty trying to do the same. But the little Fiat, it's quick, but it just loses out on the main straight as they go up the hill, over the crest, and underneath the Beatson's Building Supply Bridge. They all charge down towards Duffy's. Bapty just drops off the back of Ferrari, but look at him catch on the brakes there. And is that Shawnee Patterson making a comeback? It looks like it is. So Shawnee Patterson, after going off at Butchers on lap number 1, he's just had Ollie Mortimer go past him though, in towards turn 3 McIntyre. So again, there's the thing. The big fast cars, lots of power on the straight, and then you get Ollie Mortimer driving the Fiesta, and he can really go through the corners so much later on the brakes and carry so much more corner speed as Russell has a big moment going through Clark there. Bounced the BMW off the apex curb, lit up the rear wheels and managed to catch the slide as again Ferrari shows us the back of Alistair Bapty. Possibly the best view of Bapty we can get. No offence, Alistair. He does love it though. And Bapty, a former series champion when he had the MG BGT V8. And I bet Alistair will be wishing he still had that car just now. Craig Houston in a Lotus XL. One of the forgotten Lotuses, as Dr. Robert Johnson always says. The XL, not the same glamorous Lotus that we hear or see very much of. But let's concentrate on Shawnee Patterson having a go at Mario Ferrari just now. Be interesting to know what caught Shawnee out on lap number 1. Andrew Graham, who we saw retiring. Disaster for Andrew Graham. Something went wrong in the very start line for him. We've lost Charlie Cope, we've lost Michael Longstaff, and David Robb didn't start the race. David Robb's Austin Mini didn't even make the race start. So leading just now Class E, the Classics Class E, is Tommy Gilmartin. He leads the race overall, and he's also leading Class E. In his class is John Kinman, so the big V8 engine cars will be in Class E. And Gilmartin stamping his authority all over the race just now. Leading Class D is Shawnee Patterson. He's up against Andrew Kinman, and Andrew Kinman somewhat further down just now as Bapty goes past the XR2 on the main straight, chased by Phil Russell. And in towards Duffy's Dip they come. Leading Class A, that is Mario Ferrari just now. Mario Ferrari in the Alpha Sprint Trofeo. It does sound so good when it comes towards you. All induction noise, really nice little car that Mario drives. There he comes through McIntyre just now, and that's Jimmy Crowe up the inside of Ollie Mortimer. So a Ford battle there. Mortimer then repays the overtake on the exit off the corner, and Jimmy, a long time campaigner in the Mark 1 Escort, and usually most often found going sideways in that car, but Jimmy trying to just make sure the tyres can last 2 races today, because we're pretty sure that wife Anne's not going to let him buy any more tyres for race number 2, that's for sure. But Jimmy Crowe, that white Escort with the famous blue stripe down the side of it, we've seen it racing here for so many years, and it's great to see Jimmy still competing. Shawnee Patterson, it's been a comeback drive for Shawnee, and it's had to be a comeback drive for him, because off on lap number 1 at Butchers, and he lost so much time, but number 88 in the TR8, 4-litre engine in that car, and that looks like that's Nicky Dixon. Nicky Dixon parks the Lotus Cortina Mark 1 on the grass just before the gravel. Good job, Nicky. And gets out and walks away. Nicky Dixon, who we have seen racing Fiestas in the XR2 Waverley Press Championship in the past. And we're going back a few years now, Nicky, aren't we? Yes, but Nicky does the racing driver walk from that one. And I do like how he parked the Lotus Cortina way off the track, but not actually in the gravel trap. Good man. Doesn't want any gravel getting in places where you really don't want it in a Mark 1 Lotus Cortina. So great shame for Nicky. Hopefully he can get that fixed and come out for race number 2. As Alistair Bapty still on a charge, but he's coming under pressure now from Shawnee Patterson, and that is the other Rover going round. That's Adam Kinman, the Rover Vitesse. Spins at the bottom of Leslie's, but manages to get it going. And it's not often you actually go off there and don't collect the gravel trap on the inside or some sort of recticellan tyre wall. So thankfully Andrew Kinman did not get himself stuck or buried in anything he doesn't want to hit. As we pick back up with Craig Houston's Lotus XL and Ollie Mortimer. Ollie's like one of those annoying little terrier dogs that, you know, you pass in a straight and it's straight back at you. Look at that, up the inside and towards McIntyre's. Good move by Ollie Mortimer. It will be clean, that's one thing for sure. You can guarantee Ollie Mortimer's passes will be clean. And I think I can see the smile in that car as he comes through the chicane from here. He will be loving this. A bit of giant killing, it's always been Ollie Mortimer's thing. Some great years racing Fiesta Championship alongside Sandy Forrest. The battles those guys had was brilliant to watch. It was great fun, clean battles. There was maybe a wing mirror or a bumper of hanging off, but Ollie and Sandy gave us some great stuff. And he's also a Formula Ford racer, and Ollie's gone on to race all sorts of other things. We've seen him in Porsches and up and down the country, but minis was his thing for a while. But great to see him finding a nice home in the Scottish Classic Sports and Saloon Car Championship in association with the Edinburgh Watch Company. And what a good time, see the link there, to pick back up with our race leader. It's Tommy Gilmartin. He has been faultless all the way through this race. Tommy, who we have seen for many years competing that Morgan +8 against the likes of Harry Simpson. And just saying that probably gives Tommy a bit of a shiver, but we do miss Harry Simpson racing here. Harry in the baby blue forget what car it was he had, but it was, the battles were just sensational. Harry Simpson, one of the fastest men you will ever find over one lap from a standing start. And he used to put it to everybody out there. As we see Shawnee Patterson passing, using the power to pass Bruce Lyle on the main straight. Bruce Lyle in the Lotus Europa TC, the B-class car, gets on his way towards Duffy's Dip. And as he does that, Alistair Bapty dispenses with Andrew Kinman, on the brakes in towards Duffus. So getting towards the business end of this race, a 12-lap race. Oh, and Adam Kinman goes off again at the exit of McIntyre's this time. Let's hope that's not dragged any gravel back onto the track down through Butchers. The front of that car could act like a bit of a scoop, and that gravel could go everywhere as Shawnee Patterson has an eye full of bouncing MG coming through the chicane there of Alistair Coates. He gets past on the main straight. Alistair Coates now has Bruce Lyle firmly behind him as he comes through. A little bit wide of the apex for Shawnee there. Probably still giggling at Alistair's line through that Clark corner. And Bapty was also likewise sideways. Over the crest they go. It's been a great comeback for Shawnee Patterson, and it's had to be after that mistake on the very start. He's now up into third place, if I'm not mistaken, on the road. Third overall, from gravel to third. That's a good comeback, but he will be kicking himself after being off the road in the first place, because Shawnee knows that he was on for a bit of a victory here. He would have been able to stay with the likes of Tommy Gilmartin and John Kinman, who we haven't seen, I don't think, since maybe lap 2. John Kinman very much on his own in the Rover 3.5, the SD1, a favourite of Gary Stagg, the legendary Knockhill commentator. Gary always liked the SD1 because he used to have one himself, the big V8. Gary's one was never the same spec as John Kinman's, we'll say that, but still, if you've had one, you will have loved them. Through the hairpin they'll come. Bapty on the back of Coates now. What can Bapty do with Coates? I think that's maybe just a bridge too far, as Bruce Lyle gets done by Alistair over the main straight, up past the start line. Looking again for that last lap board to be shown from the start marshals. Tommy Gilmartin will be watching the gauges in the Morgan. He'll be just making sure every gear change is absolutely on point. He'll be watching the temperature, and you can imagine he'll be begging for that last lap board to come out, as well as looking in your mirror. Gilmartin doesn't have to look in his mirror too much, you would imagine. No, it's more about dodging the traffic, because these multi-class base races, they do get very tricky. As a checker flag flies, so there's Tommy Gilmartin, takes a checker flag, missing the last lap board, but Coates still very much in a race with Lyle and Bapty as he heads towards the hairpin. Gilmartin is our race winner. John Kinman will come through for second place. It's a great recovery. There's John. There's a great recovery for Shawnee Patterson in the TR8 to come home, the 4-litre D-class winner. He'll take third place overall, and this is the battle, and it's all gone a little bit wrong for Bruce Mitchell, sorry. Coates, Mitchell and Bapty go up over the crest of the hill. And that went a little bit wrong at the hairpin. We can see Bruce Mitchell putting a couple of wheels into the gravel. A very un-Bruce Mitchell manoeuvre there. So Tommy Gilmartin is your race winner from John Kinman and Shawnee Patterson. The Scottish Classics Sports and Saloon Car Championship in association with Edinburgh Watch Company. We should mention as well, track record goes to Phil Russell in Class F, and Shawnee Patterson takes a class record in the D class. But the overall fastest lap of the race goes to the man who took the victory. 177, Tommy Gilmartin in the stunning Morgan +8.
Tommy, great drive out there. Lots of drama, lots of cars out on their track as well. What was that like to contend with?
Knockhill is a very technical circuit, and it's difficult at the best of times. There was a lot of fast cars out there today, and so you obviously have to be aware of what's round about you. Very technical, but it's a great circuit to race, and this is our first time out for over 2 years, and thoroughly enjoyed it. It was really good.
Car feeling good as well, looking great out on track.
It's a lovely looking car, it sounds lovely. Unfortunately, we didn't realise we have a wee problem with the brakes. I don't know if we'll be out for the second race or not, but we'll see. But no, it was going well enough. I thought I was running out of fuel at the end. We're not quite sure what that is, we'll have to check that. But we'll give it our best shot to be out for the second race as well.
Fingers crossed we see you out there. Well done today.
Thank you.
John, great drive out there. Just talk us through that one.
Yeah, well, I started at the front, but then Morgan slipped past as soon as the lights went out, and I chased him as hard as I could for the first few laps, just on the hope that he might make a mistake. But I know Tommy well, and he seldom does. So, yeah, held the gap, thought we'd see what would happen. Resorted to a bit of light showboating at the hairpin, and then the front tyre started to peel apart, so I had to kind of back out of it. I actually thought the bonnet was maybe coming off because it was sort of stuff throwing up. So I thought I'll just cruise it down. I couldn't see any of my near competition in the rear view mirror, so that was just paced it over the line before anything bad happened.
It's a long championship, isn't it? So plenty of races still to go.
Yeah, that's right. It's early days. This is just the first race, so it'd be silly to bin it or throw it away just on that.
Oh, great drive out there. Well done.
Thanks. Cheers.
Shawnee, congratulations. Great drive out there. Talk us through that one from your perspective.
I think I shouldn't have put new tyres in between qualifying and the first race. Didn't warm the tyres up properly. Went into Duffus, coming in through the chicane there, and I got a bit of a slide on, and then I got a big tank slapper and then went completely off. All the cars went flying past me. But I stayed off, stayed out of the chicane. I didn't get back straight onto the track because I knew I seen the boys were flying by me, and I was concerned it would cause an accident, you know. But after that, I just went great, you know. The car's running brilliantly, you know. Couldn't ask for better, basically.
You feel it maybe 4 or 5 laps, just get tyres up to temperature and settle down?
Absolutely, yes, I'm looking forward. I think that's them. I think they'll be well worn in for the next race now, you know. I hopefully don't have that same problem next. I won't have that excuse the next time, put it that way, you know. But no, the car's going great. Yeah. I didn't realise I'd got a third actually. I wasn't sure where I was on the finishing rostrum there. I thought I was still well down the field, you know. But no, it was good. It's an exciting race. I don't know if it was exciting to watch, but it was certainly exciting to drive it.
Oh, it's certainly exciting to watch. Well done there. Brilliant.
Yes. Thanks very much. That was lovely. Thank you.
Race number 2 for the Scottish Classic Sports and Saloon Car Championship in association with the Edinburgh Watch Company at Knockhill Racing Circuit. The second race of the day for these guys, and race number 12 on the card. A 12-lap race, as race number 1 was. It was won so handsomely by Tommy Gilmartin at the front, and Tommy will be looking to have that in race number 2 as well. Unfortunately though, he's not going to start this race. Car number 177, Tommy Gilmartin, does not start. Neither does Nicky Dixon, Charlie Cope, Andrew Graham, Michael Longstaff or David Robb. Quite a high rate of attrition from race number 1. And that man, number 88, with the door open, Shawnee Patterson. Well, the biggest thing Shawnee's got to do here is get round Butchers for the first lap of Asking. It's warm here today. You can see the drivers having to open the doors in their car for some air. Rob Briggs, clerk of the course, in the starter's gantry, just making sure everything is ready to go. Rob backs up Steve Burns. Steve will be upstairs in race control, and we're moments away from the start of race number 2. So no Tommy Gilmartin. There goes our 1 minute board. The door gets closed by Shawnee Patterson, and Bruce Mitchell keeps us open just for that little bit longer before closing the Lotus Europa TC driver's door. John Kinmond on the front row of the grid, all on his own. No Tommy Gilmartin. Kinmond must be favourite for the race, but Shawnee Patterson will not let him have it easily. Alistair Coates in the MG V8 alongside Shawnee Patterson, so that's 3 V8s we can see in shot, and then the 4-cylinder Lotus of Bruce Mitchell. Here we go, red lights on, and away we go down towards Duffus Dip for the first time of Asking. A little bit of overtaking off the start there. Somebody getting away quite slowly from the line, but it's Kinmond who streaks away at the front down towards Duffus Dip. And we're later in the day now, just 20 minutes past 5 for the start of this, so the sun will be a little bit lower for these guys, so it could be quite tricky as they climb towards Clark Corner. But Kinmond leads through the chicane and up the back straight from Patterson, from Coates, from Mitchell, Ferrari and Mortimer all over the back of Mario Ferrari as they go in towards Clark Corner. Further back down, we had Phil Russell, Craig Houston, William Conway in his Austin Mini as well. Great to see William here again campaigning that car. Beautiful, beautiful little Mini, and anybody who knows me, well, they know that I do like the old Minis, that's for sure. We've got Dougald McGregor as well, who's entered as a guest, but we go past Adam Kinmond there, and it was like we'd forgotten to brake there as we go flying in towards the hairpin. but thankfully managing to make the hairpin. Blue skies again here at Knockhill for race number 2. And there goes Mortimer. Craig Houston flies through the shot as well. A little bit of a screech of tyres for John Kinman. Now John, when he gets at the front, he tends to start showboating, and he's given himself so many tellings off for this, because going sideways is great. The crowd love it, John, but yeah, you've got to get to the finish. The heat inside that Rover as well, having spoken to John quite a few times about just how hot that car actually gets, the heat soak is phenomenal. You have the exhaust basically which you sit on top of. You've got the transmission tunnel, and remember, you don't have anything in that car apart from metal, so the metal just soaks up the heat and puts it all back into the cockpit. You've got a V8 engine in front of you. I'm making it sound hard for John here. Well, he does lose a bit of sweat in the car, that's for sure, but he does enjoy it. He always comes out with a big smile on his face. In the iconic Triplex sponsorship deal, Alistair Bapty into the hairpin under huge pressure from, is this William Conway? We're on board with it, very much could be. Difficult to tell from that camera angle. Bruce Mitchell goes through the left-hander. Bruce Mitchell again in the Lotus Europa, currently leads B class on his way as Mario Ferrari locks up just ahead of Phil Russell. And Mario again doing his thing in the A class, leading the A class honours on the way. Up the back straight they go. Ollie Mortimer still very much in the mix as well, punching way above his weight in A class, but trying to get onto the back of Mario Ferrari for A class honours. So here comes John Kinman once again through Knockhill's very famous hairpin, and again he's lighting up the wheels at the apex, and he's having the back end just stepping out towards the curb, giving himself a wry grin in that open face helmet as he comes up towards the start finish line underneath the Beatson's boring supply bridge. Yeah, a big smile it certainly is. Again on board in towards the hairpin with William Conway there, and William just having a look at one of the MX-5s, trying to sneak past. And the MX-5s, who would have thought we'd have seen them in the classics, but we do. They go into class F, which puts them in the MX-5 with the 1600cc engine. And from a 1600cc engine to a 4-litre engine of Shawnee Patterson, and just listen to those cars sideways for Kinman. Here comes Patterson. Heads towards the hairpin. I do like the sound of the V8s. As we see Alistair Bapty now coming through the chicane. The little Fiat X19, 1400cc car. Alistair drives the wheels off that. Now, I said earlier on in the previous race, we used to see Alistair in an MGB GT V8, and it was incredibly fast. He won a championship, an overall championship in that. He's won a championship in the X19 as well. And Alistair, a bit more of a challenge possibly being in the smaller category. Smaller engine, there's a few more cars that he can battle with, and being a 1500cc car, he is up against it when he's racing some of these other cars. On my timing screen it does say Alistair Bapty is in an E-class car, but I can tell you he very much is not in an E-class car this weekend. As he goes through the chicane, Shawnee Patterson goes through the chicane, and let's catch up with Jimmy Crowe. Up the main straight he goes, Jimmy Crowe, again not getting tyres for race number 2 from wife Anne, having to persevere and make do with what he's got, so he's trying not to burn them out in race 1, but he's guaranteed that that car will be a lot sideways in race number 2 as Craig Houston's coming under pressure from Bapty now as they make their way up towards Clark Corner. Ollie Mortimer as well very much in the mix on the back of the data post liveried up XR2. That's very much a period livery on that car. Now, Bruce Mitchell is trying everything he can in that Lotus Europa, but he just does not have the legs for Alistair Coates. Or does he? You know how canny a racer Bruce Mitchell is. He's always there. That car, when it rains at Knockhill, the giant killing he can do in that car is something terrific. It really is to watch. Not that we want it to rain. Sorry, Bruce. You'll have to maybe pray for that in October time. But he is putting Coates under all sorts of pressure here. And we've seen Coates racing a few different cars over the years as well. He's been in a Mustang. Another man who does like the big V8 roar and the V8 thunder. But John Kinman back towards the hairpin. Bit of a lonely race for John. He'll be missing Tommy Gilmartin, but he won't be missing following Tommy Gilmartin, that's for sure. Car 71 is Paul Bowers, and that's a Fiat 128. Now that's a new car to me. You think you know every car in the world, but the Fiat 128 A-class car. And great to see Paul Bowers in the Scottish Classic Sports and Saloon Car Championship in association with Edinburgh Watch Company. Great to see him out there enjoying being on track in the Fiat 128. Jimmy Crowe through Clark Corner with the hills and the trees in the background. Then we get Dougal and Andrew McGregor in their MX-5s bouncing into shot as well, putting Jimmy under, putting Jimmy under pressure. Jimmy's going to have to bring his A game for the remainder of this race number 2. And the XR2 of Duncan O'Neill goes through shot as well. Duncan, a long time lover of XR2, not just a campaigner, a long time lover, as Adam Kinmond is about to be overtaken by Dad. John will see this, and there might be a little hand gesture or two as John Kinmond thunders past in the big Rover as he heads towards Duffus. The blue flags wave from the marshal. Blue flag means faster car is actually passing you. Basically the leader's coming up behind you, so don't move offline, just the leader will get past you. John Kinmond does so on the way into Duffus Dip, and we pick back up with him as he leaves McIntyre's and heads towards the chicane. Shawnee Patterson, next car into view, car number 88. Then Duncan O'Neill comes in the XR2. And Jimmy Crowe now under pressure from Dougal and Andrew McGregor. Jimmy Crowe, has he cooked the tyres? Has it all gone south for Jimmy? Well, it could well be, as John Kinmond, it looks like he's picked up Adam Kinmond and giving him a little bit of a tour around the circuit now. Got to say for Adam, it's a bit of a baptism of fire when you jump into one of these huge cars. The Rover Vitesse is such a big car, that 3.5 litre V8 engine car. It sits huge on the track, and it's very difficult car to drive if it's your first race car. Huge power, not a lot of grip. The brakes work okay, John Kinmond tells us, but it's all about nursing one of these home. And remember, that was a touring car off its day, what John Kinmond's driving there. Tom Walkinshaw run these cars for a long, long time in what would have been called the British Saloon Car Cup before the BTCC, as the MX-5s get themselves bouncing through chicane all crossed up. And yeah, Jimmy Crowe looks like he's lost a bit of pace as John Kinmond now comes up to put a lap on Jimmy. And that could just be Jimmy having burnt out the tyres. Speaking of burnt out the tyres, Andrew McGregor completely crossed up and sideways on the exit of Clark Corner, but loving it out there on an MX-5. Who would have thought an MX-5 would have come in as a classic as well? But here we go. John Kinmond comes in towards the hairpin. The 2 MX-5s ahead of him. John got to get through here and accelerate up the main straight, because he cannot take his finger off this, because not far behind him, only 3 seconds behind him on the road, 4 seconds, is Shawnee Patterson. And Shawnee Patterson will be there in a heartbeat if anything goes wrong or John Kinmond steps out of line. Rover 3.5 SD1 leads the race from the Triumph TR8, and in third place it's still the Mitchell or Coates battle, which will rage on towards the very bitter end, that's for sure. Kinmond through the chicane, up the back straight he goes. The 2 MX-5s chase him. There is Shawnee Patterson. So yeah, you can see John Kinmond having to keep himself very much on form as he comes through Clark's in glorious sunshine here at Knockhill at the first SMRC event. We've seen all the normal classes, and that looked like Bruce Mitchell was having a go at Alistair Coates through on the exit chicane towards Clark. So can Bruce make that one stick as he gets towards the end of the race? Up towards the top of the hill goes John Kinmond, flashes past our camera and goes underneath the Beatson's Building Supply Bridge. When that car goes past you in the pit wall, your insides do rumble. It's got a vicious growl to it, and I've got to say, I'm a bit of a fan. It's also a little bit scary, if you get me. Shawnee Patterson in a fine second place now. He's dispensed, is that the right word, with Dougal and Andrew McGregor in the MX-5s. And Shawnee, well, he'll be rueing what went wrong in race number 1 when he took a trip through the gravel trap at Butchers. We won't let that happen again. And it's possibly best that we let that go now and don't mention it, because Shawnee, big chap, shoehorns himself into a TR8. Certainly wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of him, but if you're ever in a bar brawl, he's definitely in my team. As they go towards Clark Corner. Here comes your race leader as he slides it out of the hairpin, and this is John Kinmond at his best. This is John Kinmond starting to turn it on for the fans and just having fun for John Kinmond. What he doesn't want to do is overstep the mark and make something go wrong. Shawnee Patterson's already chased him through, up and over the crest of the hill. Through goes the MX-5. And that is 16 of Dugald McGregor, the white one of Dugald, and the black one for Andrew. Nice and easy to tell them apart. Thank you, guys. So we're late in the race now at Knockhill for the Scottish Classic Sports and Saloon Car Championship. Race number 2 here at Knockhill, supported by the Edinburgh Watch Company. Down through Butchers we go, and Bruce Mitchell, he's been like a terrier, like Ollie Mortimer, towards Alistair Coates here. Coates has probably not enjoyed this race too much because Bruce Mitchell is on his bumper all the way around, but can he hold onto that 3rd place on the road overall for Alistair Coates? It'll be interesting to see as Kinman goes up towards the checkered flag. A glorious victory in the sunshine for John Kinman, 2nd place for Shawnee Patterson, and it's all about the Mitchell and Coates battle. The last lap, last corner will sort that out as we wait for them to come over the line. The MX-5 crosses the line and it's side by side up towards the line. It looks like Bruce Mitchell is just going to steal that. Bruce does. Bruce Mitchell steals that on the line by 0.3 of a second from Alistair Coates. So Bruce gets himself 3rd overall on the road. He also wins Class B. Alistair Coates wins, comes home in 4th place, sorry. And Alistair Bapty comes home in 5th place. Bapty will be delighted in that. And there's a whole chain of cars coming over with Phil Russell, Ollie Mortimer, Jimmy Crowe and Craig Houston involved in that as well. But John Kinman wins on the road and wins Class E. Shawnee Patterson 2nd on the road and wins Class D. And Bruce Mitchell sneaks 3rd on the road overall and wins Class B. That is the Scottish Classic Sports and Saloon Car Championship with the Edinburgh Watch Company, race number 2.
John, a good weekend for you. You must be very happy with how things have gone overall.
Yeah, it's been quite good. That was nice not having the competition of Tommy there to deal with, so I could just pace myself out and be fine. Got new tyres on the front following the previous races shredding, and you know, well, I'm most pleased my young lad's been out today in another Rover. It's his first race weekend, and he's managed to complete all the races, and luckily I built up enough lead there that we could try and get a photo opportunity of both cars sort of side by side on the track. So that was quite good. That'll probably be my highlight of the weekend, I think.
No, definitely, that sounds great. And tell us a little bit about the preparation that you've done with Adam and getting him involved in racing. What was that like for you?
Yeah, well, it's a lot of work. I hadn't really realised that 2 cars seems to be more than twice the work. I don't know how that works. But yeah, he's been involved in every part of it, from the body work, the mechanical stuff, taking the engine in and out, prepping it, cage, safety gear. It's obviously all been fitted for him, so the seat positioning and the seat belts and all that stuff. And then it's they're classic cars, so it's all old-fashioned skills that we're using. To no ECUs, no laptops, just setting up these old cars to run, which I think is a good thing to bring the young team in. So it's been great this weekend. There's been 2 young racers that have just started with us, so that's keeping the blood fresh in the classics and sort of bringing the next generation in.
Another Rover on the grid as well, of course.
That's always good.
Congratulations, well done this weekend, John.
Thank you, cheers.
Shawnee, P2 on the road overall. Must be very happy with how your weekend's gone on the whole.
Oh, that was a great weekend. Yeah, I couldn't hope for better actually. A 2nd and a 3rd's a very good result considering what happened in the first race. 2nd race got off to a great start and just kept it neat and tidy, and obviously can't compete with Jordan with the power and stuff. You can see that coming out the hairpin and stuff, so there's no point in thrashing my car. But the car's handling beautifully, absolutely beautifully, yes. So it was nice to get a 2nd and 3rd. Dedicate these 2 trophies to my lovely wife, who gives me a lot of support on my endeavours in racing and my motorsport. So she's a great support, and here supporting me with my young son and my daughter today. And we had a friend who had never been here before, and she was just absolutely thrilled with it. So when you're bringing people like that who have never done it before, I like to think that's getting more people interested in motorsport. My daughter's young, her daughter's the same age. My son, hopefully they may be there in the future for, following in the footsteps, if you like, if they want to, of course.
Great stuff, and well done again this weekend. Fantastic.
Great, thanks very much, folks. Thank you.
Thank you. Bruce, a good weekend for you, and was that a Driver of the Day trophy I saw you picking up there as well?
It was. It was an excellent weekend. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. It couldn't have been better. The weather, the cars were out, a good field. Everybody enjoyed themselves. Spectators, really great day. Aye. I couldn't have driven any faster. I was, I was doing my best to get onto that MG, but he just had me on the straights. But thoroughly enjoyed it. Aye.
So, and the car's looking great out there as well. Happy with how it's performing?
Aye, it's performing. It's well, got a rebuild engine last year, and it's still going fine. Aye, it's got good pressures and it doesn't overheat and on, so it's good for an old car coming up for 50 years old.
Oh, great stuff. Congratulations. Well done again this weekend.
Thanks very much. Cheers.